Joining us now on the phone with some perspective on how law enforcement should be and can be handling this situation. I want to bring in Ed Davis, former Boston Police Commissioner, also a Fox News contributor. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. You're looking at these live pictures as we are now. I want to get your take on a situation that has become increasingly violent, and it's not even 12:15 in the afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon. It's troubling to watch this, actually. You've got a clear problem here that the police are trying to control. But you know, in looking at the situation, Charlottesville is a relatively small city of around 50,000 people. And ideally, in a situation like this, you want to have an equal number of police to the number of crowd that is there on both sides, and that's a very difficult thing for a small city to field those kind of forces. So you can see the Virginia State Police are here in mass, and what the police are attempting to do in situations like this is to keep each side of this argument separate. So they want to keep the protesters separated by ideology, and try to give them an opportunity for each side to express their feelings on this thing. But when you have sporadic street fighting breaking out in an area like this, there's just clearly not enough police to control it at this point in time.
You know, if I may, I want to ask you sort of what goes on behind the scenes when we look at a situation like this. Do you have the governor say we need to start making arrests, or arrests do not need to be made at this time? I mean, it went from what was a rally last night to, like you said, it's physical. We have seen men and women showing up with physical weapons, with handguns, with chemical agents, with shields. We have our own Doug McKelway had seen, if I'm not mistaken, it was a piece of wood with nails in it. That can really hurt someone. I mean, that would be an understatement. So how aggressive do police get, and at what point is that decision made?
Well, those decisions are usually made by local authorities. So the mayor will be in consultation with the police chief. The police chief has people on the ground monitoring the situation, and usually has wide latitude to do what needs to be done based upon the actions of the crowd. Are they simply standing and voicing their opinion? Are they starting to throw things? Are they starting to damage property? A lot of times they'll light fires, and then you have it elevated when they start to commit physical assaults. It's clear in this particular situation that those assaults have already started. So this is time to do something. It's time to move in, to start making arrests, and to establish your presence as a police department. But as I said before, it's difficult to do that if you don't have the field forces necessary. Now, when a situation like this starts to develop, the police will normally have intelligence in the days and weeks leading up to the event. So the Fusion Center, which is a national program of intelligence operations in each state in the country, will have been paying attention to this, monitoring social media feeds, checking to see if this is going to be a big crowd. And then they'll feed that information to the local police so that the police can be ready for it. But sometimes you don't get as good intelligence as you need. Sometimes the situation will get worse very quickly, and you have to scramble to try to get the police and the resources in place to do what needs to be done here. You know, you have to remember that this is a 2.5-hour drive from Washington, D.C., and a 6-hour drive from New York City. It's easy to pull together a lot of people on both sides of this issue.
Well, I think that's really a noteworthy point. Doug had mentioned when we were speaking earlier that there were counter-protesters in the area that perhaps had been bussed in, and we don't know if that is because of what we had seen last night, that maybe folks had gotten word last minute. So, Ed, we appreciate you joining us, former Boston Police Commissioner and Fox News contributor. We asked you to stand by with us as we watch this developing situation. Sir, thank you so much.